Why I make these YouTube videos the way I do is because I want people to see both the good and bad. Um, that these things take time, but a lot of videos are heavily produced, manufactured. They have backing, they have money, they have resources. And because of that, there's this long list of things that you have to do just to start being. And not being able to witness that process, not being able to see someone's success starting from the bottom and the beginning, to actually track that, not seeing it anymore. That's what causes what I feel like these imposter syndromes. Back in the day, you get to see someone start in the beginning, make some kind of subpar, shoddy work, and then get better. But now, because everyone is so afraid of being perceived and how they're perceived, that they don't see what was the good, what was the bad. And then they're also trying to manufacture themselves to be something that's incredibly renowned in society. But because of that, there's so much inauthenticity. There are people that lack personality, a goal to achieve, an ending, like to do something good and then say, hey, I did the best I can and I think I'm going to leave it there. And someone else tries to beat the record. There are so many people trying to maintain such a high status that sometimes it's fun to try something and do something that you don't really have the talent or the knack, or you didn't have the inherent ability to get that far. You had to earn that. That's what makes it so much better. See, I'm not inherently a an athlete. Now I've done my DNA test. It actually said I'm not as coordinated, so it gives me that debuff. But for me, I like that. I love that. It's the same way I love being black. I like when people doubt me and think me bad, and I have all these debuffs. Because it says when I succeed, now no one can take that away from me. Nobody can say, hey, they gave me something. I'm not saying nobody gave me anything. I'm saying, but who, when everyone was putting their chips in this, when everyone was putting in and investing in this, and I made it, and I survived, I get to then challenge. I get to say, what was um, what was your equation? How did you come to this conclusion? What was your thinking? What was your work? I say that those moments of doubt, those underdog stories always got me hyped. Underdog stories are truly a wonder, but not every story is an underdog story. Like I can see it, I could smell a fake underdog story. You know, everybody in the early 2000s, 2010s, 2015, they started these fake underdog stories. Nobody believed in me. Nobody liked me. No one gave me any work or like. Nah. I can tell a fake one because a real underdog story always says who was there. The first thing an underdog says, who was by my side, who was ride or die with me, who let me sleep on the couch. Now you got people. Now that I see that he's being successful, I might let him sleep on my couch. So you got to prove something so far and so much, and then you got to credit them. True underdog stories, they remember, hey, you know, I had to do some things. I did have to prove to people, yeah, I was capable of doing it, but I didn't have to give them my best already. I just proved to them, yeah, there's something there. You see what I'm seeing. You gave me time to let me take you on this journey, and I'll give you back. Trust in me. You know, a true underdog story, they say immediately. They're like, this is the first person that I'm going to speak to. This is the first person I'm going to credit. And as time went on, I could tell more and more fake people. People would they credit God. They'll be like, thank my mom, thank my dad, thank God, or thank God and thank my mom and dad. I'd be like, how many people you not naming? You say you name God so you can hide the other names that you don't want to admit. Because when you don't credit everyone, it's usually because you've hurt somebody to get there, and you know it. You don't want to say the person's name, so you want to say God, because people who put God first try to hide that by religion. They try to make like, hey, let me be morally right, let me be good. Me, I remember the names that got me here. I remember what they did, because I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for them doing what they did. And there's some things I didn't know that people did that got me there. But I can assume so, because I thought about it. I'm like, how did I make it through? If I couldn't make a conclusion, something tells me there's something that was going on. That's what keeps me, open. But people that immediately want to tell you and try to remind you of what they did to put it higher, that says something. My dad used to do that. Still, before we had our falling off, it's like, I shouldn't have to pay you to be my dad or my mom. If every day you gotta throw something in my face about what you did for me, I'm gonna start asking, did I choose this? At some point, I'm gonna do everything in my power to avoid that. And if you knew that I couldn't avoid that and you offered it, and then you want to throw it in my face, that says to me who you are. People should help because they want to help. If you help halfway, if you give what you can and expect full credit, that to me is an issue. Like I don't mind if you don't have what I asked for. Because like if I have a problem, I'll be like, hey, I need $100. Let's say you got $50. And you let me hold that $50. That's one thing. But if you give me that $50 like you gave me $100, I can only say thank you for giving me the 50. But you wouldn't have had any if I didn't give you this 50. That's what people, it's like there's an added extra. It's like now I gotta put you in the name and the title. What became a, hey, can I borrow the 50 and give you the value of the 50 back, now means that you're entitled to millions. That's the thing. It's greed. That's the laziness. I don't want somebody else's wealth. Like if my sisters won the lottery, let's say they both of them won the lottery. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna say congratulations. I'm glad that you did, and I'm not gonna ask them for a single cent. Not because I don't I don't need some money and resources, but because people if I can get my own, if I can get my own and do my own, then I'm gonna get my own. I'm not under anybody. I don't care what I'm gonna congratulate anybody for whatever they do. I'm glad that they having a good life, but it's not me. It's not my blessings. I'm not gonna try to jump on that. Like when your friends become famous rappers, then you want to be more friends with them. I don't try to switch up on people. I don't try to be more than I was originally. It's hard at first, because you want to be more. Like I try to love my before I was trying to, drown out those red flags, those bad feelings that I had with people, because that was my understanding of their red flags, and tried to be more of a friend. I thought that if I gave them more, then they would become better people and then better friends and better friends to me. But they didn't. And then when I finally started succeeding, and then people tried to come back, and I'm like, where was y'all before? It's like I know that when I become a success, like there's gonna be people knocking out the door, and I was like, the pain in that situation, and it made me strong enough to say, I can't let you in. That pain was the reminder. It was telling me, yeah, I paid it forward. I paid the debt early. That pain of being alone, I paid it already. Now I'm cool with being alone. Now that you back, it's not doubling. I already paid that debt. Now I'm taking on a new debt. I'm not saying have revenge or people can't come back into your life. It's just when they come back into your life. Like, why did you choose now when I'm up? Why not when I was down? Didn't you check? Heck, some people might come back when you up, and it just be timing. And you could tell. You could tell when people just kind of come back. You can even see it in their eyes. They understand the situation. You know, it's those same people that say, I can't come back now. He's up. And that's the moment that you're supposed to come back and just say your piece. You know, I think that's what we all kind of want. We all, like, when you truly friends or truly like a person that cares about someone, it doesn't matter about friends or not. Like, I wanted to get up in life so I could apologize to people. So I could say the things I truly felt about people. What I truly wanted with people. And I would wait until I became a success to do so. But I was aiming for success, like a monetary success. Aiming for a gain that was not mine. Like, am I waiting for 6 figures, 7 figures? Then I can knock on the door. Hey, I'm rich now. Yeah, I'm sorry. You said something mean to me. Now I got money. Ha ha ha. Or was I supposed to, like, even if I wasn't trying to mock them, was I supposed to be like, hey, you said something hurtful to me. I'm a lawyer now. I have money now. And if they don't apologize, or if they don't care, if they don't give you the same thing that you said that you needed, what are you going to do? Go back to your job and be like, with all that money, with all that work, with all that time I spent, and I didn't get what I want? Money ain't a goal, it's a tool for me. Like, when I realized that, I was like, I don't need all this money to get there. I just needed, I needed time and space. I needed to, get over myself, to get over other people too, to get over both, and realign, retune, recalibrate. I spent so much time focused on others when I should have been focused on me, and focused on me when I should have been focused on others. And I just had to flip the two. Simple fix. Me now, when people come back, I can sit there and see them for who they are and who they were. I can see them for who they were, but who they are now and who they will be. I could try to make a guess. That's it. It's all an estimated guess. I'm trying to make worth out of things based on a system that is going to go away one day. Like the systems that we use, the way that we talk, the way that we walk, no matter what, it's going to go away. And I'm not talking about like, the collapse of governments. No. Because look at 2015. We talked the same way. Do we act this way? No. Like even when we try, it doesn't really kind of fit. Clothes don't fit anymore. Styles don't fit anymore. Even if you can get the same shirt that you had when you was younger, it doesn't quite work no more. It doesn't quite feel right. Did it always feel this snug? Did it always hurt this way? Did it always feel this tight? Even if you get it bigger, does it look the same? You can wear the same clothes but not feel the same way because you're not the same man that wore it, the same person that wore it. You see people doing the same thing, stuck in a style, stuck in a trend, and that's when you feel ugly. And in yourself, that's the best time. When you feel ugly, do something to feel beautiful again. When you feel bored, ask yourself why you bored and what could alleviate that boredom. Sometimes that's the moments that really hit you in the head. Like, dang, something needs to change. Like me, I'm living the life that I am, and I've been like this. And I've come to realize, like, yeah, I am prepared to make these steps and changes. I once thought that I would never be, but when you get here, when never comes, you you look at who you once were when you said it and say, who was that to say never will never come? Who was that person that said that this was impossible? I was a different person. I knew that person, but I don't know that person anymore. That person is so far gone. There's so many. It's like the wall of depression when you're depressed, when you're angry and anxious, when all those emotions are bubbling up. Those are like walls building up because it takes blood, sweat, and tears. It's almost your moment. It's like when you feel like jumping off the building, jumping off the cliff. You do the opposite. And you build the cliff, you build the walls, you build these mountains that separate you from the person that you used to be. And you can see a valley open, and you walk towards, and then you see another wall or mountain, and they just keep closing. And this time, you're just okay with it. And once you start being okay with it, you can, like at the end of your life, reminiscing and talking about your issues, talking about your problems, or you chiseling out a road, cave, so you can enter and go back and forth. And remembering that these mountains were here, these walls were here. Some things you could just leave. Some things you can witness. It's sections, seasons, chapters, periods, end. And it's beautiful. It's okay to be tired and just like not have a book come out yet. It's okay to be exhausted and say I don't want to fight no more. Not right now. It's okay to say not right now. Not never. Like we're forced in this society to say yes and no. And absolutes, it's either you do or you don't. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But how long do I have to take to do? Am I not already doing it? If I said, yeah, I'm going to do it. Like when you playing the game, you on an online game, you on the sticks, you say, hey, someone comes in, I'm going to, please take out the trash. You go, yeah, okay, I will. Right after I get off this game, the match is ending. It's not that you're already committed to doing it. You just need to get off the game. Someone might come in and be like, no, right now. Why? Is it gonna spring up? I said yes, I'll do it. I'm just finishing up on something. It's okay to commit to something while still, finishing a previous commitment. Is ask yourself, like, do you, what's wrong with doing that? The problem is the person. The person's not respecting that you can commit to both. The person's the issue. It's like, what's the reason? If it was a necessary reason to stop right now, if the house blows up, it's gonna blow up if I don't do it right now, then I can understand. But then I'll go, why didn't you just do it if it was that dire? Just be reasonable, be patient, be tolerable. Like, yeah, give people a chance to, like, they set their boundaries and their rules and their regulation, and they're capable of doing it. And imagine, hey, you let someone finish their game over. They go out and take out the trash. That's cool. Sometimes a person's like, oh yeah, I'll take it out, and they continue to keep playing. Then you have a reason to be like, hey, I don't think that this is the same match. Oh yeah, you're right. Then you get the excuse to, hey man, just turn off the game because clearly you're not gonna remember, or you start to just piece together who they are, who you are, what position, what place. Is this gonna work? Is this not gonna work? Some people just need time to grow into themselves. Some people, like for me, discovering myself, finding who I am, loving myself, that took a long time. And there's some things you know, I wouldn't say I needed to happen, because I don't think it needed to happen, but it did happen. So what happened? And I worked through it with time and patience. When I was given enough resources, time, and the ability, I did it. Sometimes there's just a lot. There's a lot on a person's plate and on their head and on their mind. And just adding one more thing sounds easy. At least it's like, it's not that bad. This person's strong. People are strong, yeah. But that doesn't mean that they never break. Being strong is not it's not invincible. Being strong does not mean invincible. And life has taught me that. You can still be strong and have weak moments. You can still be strong and cry. You can still be strong and be happy. You can still be strong and be homosexual. You can still be strong and be heterosexual. You can be all that. It's like I'm scared sometimes. That's why sometimes I say things. I've said things that I didn't really mean, partial truths, because I was scared if people knew the whole truth, that they couldn't handle me, deal with me, want to be around me. Sometimes I would even say things that I didn't fully comprehend because it was, you know, dark thoughts that were in my head. There's times I'm like, I'm gonna be a cheater just like my father. I'm gonna be just as bad, and it's like these aren't thoughts that I thought of myself. These were someone else's thoughts. These were things that someone else was implanting into my mind. Someone else's fears. And if you can't handle your fears, you project that fear onto others. That's why um, relationships relationships are hard. If you don't work things out on your own, not on your own. If you don't try to work things out for yourself, those will always lead into something else. They will always be put onto your partner. Your mom issues, your dad issues, because you're trying to fulfill something. Because you're like, what are you looking in for a partner? Before I was looking for someone like my mom. And then, but I was trying to find someone that wasn't my mom, but was my mom. Because, like, she always had this power dynamic. And I was trying to like it wasn't that I was looking for a relationship. Not a relationship that had to be romantic, but sometimes those romantic relationships are the only times you could be personal. I was looking for any relationship that can have that conversation with my mom because I couldn't have that conversation with my mom. And it transformed, and then I was looking for a girlfriend who wasn't. And I got it. I got the person that I needed to. And I was trying to commit to her. I was trying for her to commit to me. Like I wanted my mom to be like, hey, I love you, son. I see what you're doing. I see that you're doing these great things. And I love you. You know, and I'm going to do better. I'm going to start changing these things. Or not even saying it, just doing it. But like that girl, being like my mother, I found my mother in a different form. And I said, you know what? I got to break this. I got to break this. And, you know, I spent a lot of money. A lot of money in that. And all that money was worth it. You would think, like, I paid some things, you know, I would say over like $2,000-$3,000 for some short months. And that's money well spent. You know, you're like, oh, I could have used that to pay a bill, or I could pay some things off. Or... You start to realize something. That money, what is that money going to do? Is that money going to save my soul? Am I going to take it to heaven? Am I going to be like, yeah, pay my way into heaven? No. That money for me was me paying that to myself to allow myself to grieve, allow myself to reason, to make sense, to feel bad, to feel shame. Because if I'm not allowed to feel angry and upset with myself, then I'll give myself a reason to be angry and upset with myself. And it was like, I'm not angry and upset with myself. I'm angry and upset with the situation. I'm like, I don't hate myself. I don't think I'm dumb. I did this for a reason. And when I figured out the reason for myself, I gave myself a hug. I said, dang, you smart, man. You didn't know how to do this, so you went all the way around and you got it done. And it took me a while to figure out the words to understand myself. It took me so long that years had passed, months had passed. You know, even while I moved on to different things, I still thought about it to make clear. And I was complaining about this. And I was like, good. You're smart for complaining. If you don't complain at that moment, you will sit there forever complaining about it later on in different ways, frustrated about something. I complained about these things because I needed to. So the person you always hear complaining but still trying, because it's not about just complaining. Complain and try. Complain and try. You see the person always trying but complaining, do both. You can hear the constant complainer, but then when you actually, like, well, you're complaining so much, have you tried this? And then when they say yes, be prepared to be like, oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe, okay, let me see, how did it actually go? And then you explain, and then maybe you could even explain, no, I didn't mean it like that. I meant that you should change this. And they'd be like, oh, I didn't even understand. I didn't even think that way. Wow, thank you. The complaining is something's wrong. I'm asking God, tell me what's wrong. Someone comes in, hears you complaining, what's wrong? You tell them, and they may be able to fix it. And if not, they may able to have a guy that could fix it. That's life right there. With that being said, done with this one.